Are you kidding me? That's insane! Are games supposed to hurt? If you've ever played Halo or Call of Duty or really any game with violence, you've likely been shot hundreds of thousands of times within the game, yet you've never felt a single one of them. But what if you could feel pain? And what if that pain was actually painful? And to push this idea even further, what if you were in virtual reality, in a simulation where you can watch your body receive pain firsthand? If this tech existed, would you put yourself in pain to heighten your immersion?
He's getting beat up!
This isn't a science fiction hypothetical question, this is a real proposition because this technology already exists, and not just for businesses. This capability is coming to us, typical consumers, this year, in the form of haptic electrostimulation suits to wear within virtual reality. Suits that deliver shocks of pain intense enough to make your entire body cringe and lose control over your limbs. Of course, it does more than that, and today, I get to show you everything that's coming or already here regarding electrostimulation technology for VR. Luckily, at the Consumer Electronics Show this year, I was given a private demo of the Teslasuit, probably the most advanced haptic suit in the world, as well as a demonstration of the OWO Skin. Pretty much a Teslasuit, but lacking some of the more sophisticated features. More importantly though, the OWO Skin is set to launch this year to consumers at a consumer level pricing. Here is a first-hand look into the shocking future of virtual reality. So before we get started, I want to give a short rundown on haptic technology within VR just to tell you where we're at right now. I've covered all sorts of haptics ranging from haptic vests to force feedback gloves, haptic wrist and ankle sleeves. Just about all of these devices use vibration motors to convey what is happening in VR to your body. The B-Haptics vest, for example, has 40 small motors throughout the device, and say in game you're shot from behind you, the motors in that affected area will vibrate. This is already decently affordable and works well to increase immersion, but to be totally honest, it's not a realistic sensation, just as much as a controller vibrating doesn't actually feel like the entire floor is crumbling. It is a way to increase immersion through sensation, but the vests I'm about to show you are not vibration-based haptic devices. They instead use electrostimulation. Throughout the Teslasuit and OWO Skin are a set of dry electrodes that make direct contact with your skin. Through these electrodes, electrical pulses are sent to stimulate your muscles to contract involuntarily. This historically has been used for all sorts of applications, from therapy to pleasure to bad late night ads promising an 8-pack, but the technology itself has been thoroughly researched. The question now is what happens when you connect immersive technologies like virtual reality and a full bodysuit of these e-stim electrodes and bring them together through software so that stimuli within a simulation has a real physical impact on your muscles and skin, and I think most importantly, even though it's not the organ being stimulated, the brain. First, I'll start with the Teslasuit, which by the way was a fluke that I even got a demo at all. After CES, I found myself at a random bar for a VR industry meetup where I met the Teslasuit guys, and they gave me a demo on the spot, so thanks to them, of course. The Teslasuit is an insane piece of hardware with 80 electrostimulation channels, built-in full-body tracking, and a full suite of biometric monitors through galvanic skin sensors, giving the user and software control over all of it. Right now, the primary use for the Teslasuit ranges from general enterprise training solutions to athletic purposes, hazardous duty simulation like firefighting or police training, and muscle rehabilitation, so basically all enterprise, which makes sense because this suit costs anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000, not exactly in the range of most consumers. And just to be clear, you don't always have to be in constant pain while wearing something like this. Before you get into whatever software you're going to be running, a calibration process is ran that sets the suit's low and high thresholds. Depending on the application, this can be as low as a very light tickle to tapping sensation to completely losing control over your arm or feeling like you just got punched in the gut. I had the Teslasuit guys crank up the settings as far as they could, and here was my reaction. And I know it's pretty hard to actually show on camera since there's no sound of haptic motors or electricity, but the shock being sent through my arm made moving it nearly impossible. And apparently the suit is strong enough to nearly fully simulate being tased, which I'm sure is great for some applications, but it doesn't always have to be such a painful experience. My other demos with the suit consisted of rain falling on my shoulders, feeling little pinpricks of imaginary drops of water hitting my chest, really kind of trippy in itself, but the demo ended with people people at the bar coming over to punch me with a mouse click in the name of science and reporting on the Teslasuit. But there's another fascinating thing about electrostimulation. It does some funky stuff to the brain. And not just due to the perception of being shocked, but the chemicals released by the brain can positively affect mood, leading to a more sociable demeanor, heightened memory, and heightened brain synchronization. And that was basically the extent of my Teslasuit demo. I wasn't able to get in VR with the Teslasuit, and I don't do that until the OWO Skin, but even from my short time getting shocked to hell, I'm absolutely intrigued as to how my brain will interpret something flying at me in VR and feeling pain on impact. But for now, let's get back to the convention center and take a look at OWO. So, OWO is interesting. I'm sure you already put the two together with the name, and I did ask the CEO about this.
Everything in OWO is wow. Oh,
Right.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, no, it makes total sense,
yeah.
And apparently it's the sound you make when putting the skin on and trying it. Oh, whoa. But memes aside, the OWO Skin is special because while the Teslasuit has full body tracking and biometrics, it's also $20,000. OWO, on the other hand, is set to ship to consumers for under $500 this year, and it already works with thin VR, either PC VR or Quest standalone by itself. And it's no slouch. Similar to Tesla, it has a tight fit to get the electrodes to touch your skin directly, and the process to calibrate is extremely similar, going through the low and high threshold of electrical strength. And even though the OWO Skin is significantly smaller and lighter, it still packs a punch. Turning the maximum threshold strength up all the way was equally muscle tensing compared to the Teslasuit. But what got me were two different demos. One simulating shooting a gun, and every time the gun goes off, a jolt of electricity goes up your bicep, and it's a really convincing simulated recoil. But the next one is a demo of getting stabbed, then feeling the knife enter your stomach and get driven even deeper. Now, this is one where you have to turn up the intensity to appreciate, because the initial pierce is, well, piercing. It feels like a strong shock in my stomach and then a dull twisting as the virtual blade moved in my abdomen. Really, it just sent chills down my spine, and my first impression is this is kind of what I've been looking for. I've said it before, but I've been chasing the feeling of hyper immersion within VR, a feeling I only really felt a few times when I first got into VR, then that wore off. If I am feeling actual sensations this convincing and real in VR, like actual real pain or light tingling feelings, it changes the way I'd interact with the virtual world entirely. Things stop feeling like much of a game and more like an immersive simulation where your body is on the line. And I'd imagine I'd take things a little more seriously, but I haven't been in VR yet, and that's when everything comes together. The demo that OWO has set up is a pretty simple wave shooter that really isn't anything special graphically or gameplay wise, but that doesn't change the fact that this is the single thing that moved me the most from all of CES, and potentially is one of the coolest things I've tried in VR, cookie cutter wave shooter aside. In the game, drones fly from all directions and fire a variety of weapons at you, all of which feel different. And I calibrated my skin to be pretty intense, and holy crap guys, I have never felt something like that. To be completely within a virtual world, see a 3D model of a drone that I don't take very seriously, then to have the drone shoot a bolt at me and my side flinches from pain, made me take these drones quite a bit more seriously very quickly. There were actual real-life consequences to getting shot or missing your shots, or not properly blocking the shots with my shield, which by the way, even blocking things with the shield sent a jolt through my arm. As I'm standing there getting shot from all angles in a wave shooter on a years-old headset, I was completely immersed. There is legitimately nothing out there that will make you think on your toes than to be in real pain, real physical stimuli to something that is happening to you in virtual reality. And I'm not gonna lie guys, I really don't know if people are ready for this. I mean, I know I am, and I know that people are, but this was really intense and kind of changes the nature of virtual reality entirely. I just imagined a more realistic game, or multiplayer game, or turning down the intensity and feeling rain fall around you in some realistic looking VR simulator. Or someone in VR touching your avatar and feeling the tingles on your chest, not through vibrations, but through your muscles contracting. I had a very moving experience, and I wanted to just take one home, but they unfortunately wouldn't let me. You'll also notice this shirt is branded Meta. Now, I asked them a few questions about this, but I didn't get a full response, so I don't know if this was just for fun on their side or if this is possibly going to be a meta product in the future, but this actually changes everything. I know I've said that quite a bit in the past, but the resolution and field of view of headsets matters far less when you can actually feel things. Plus, like I said, this works on standalone already. Yeah, that's the OWO Skin. This year, $500. If this actually happens, this instantly becomes one of the absolute craziest thrill-seeking immersion boosters ever, and I really can't wait to see how much my mind goes crazy when I combine something like the Teslasuit or this with an omnidirectional treadmill or XR3 or full body tracking or all of them. Either way, I should be making videos like the one I just described and with the Teslasuit soon, so make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell for all of that. I'm really interested to see if this actually comes to market and if consumers can be trusted not to shock themselves endlessly or try to take a bath with one of these, and please don't do that, by the way. But I will be here to share every step of the way for OWO and things like this and stay on the forefront of VR technology. If you thought things are good now, we've got a lot coming. I do want to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. This trip wouldn't have happened without you. So until next time, much love, Rill out.